WWE's Bron Breakker out long-term with a hernia injury. The Miami Redhawks are the last undefeated team in college basketball, and the United States women's hockey team is rolling, with today being their biggest test yet. It is currently Tuesday, February 10th at about 1:20 p.m. Welcome to the Caleb Perez Show, ladies and gentlemen. I talked about the NFL yesterday as we officially concluded the football season. We've had some news come out. Obviously, a big upset in college basketball yesterday, and as the Olympics continue to roll on with the women's hockey team playing some of the best hockey I've ever seen them play. They have their biggest test yet today in Canada, as they play Team Canada in just about an hour. So we're going to start off with the WWE news, and it's news, unfortunately, none of the WWE fans wanted to hear, especially as we go into WrestleMania season regarding one of the biggest stars in the industry. So there had been rumors about basically all week discussing the health of Bron Breakker, with some rumors coming out that he had surgery for a hernia injury that he suffered last Monday Night Raw after he tried to flip over the announce table. When he did so, he could have given himself a hernia, and he had surgery for it. It was confirmed on Raw yesterday that he did indeed have to have hernia surgery, and that Bron Breakker is out indefinitely. Now, the story they put it was that he got the hernia lifting because of how upset he was. I'm pretty sure the official report is that he suffered the hernia injury when he was flipping the announce table, but this is a catastrophic blow to WWE fans and another major injury to the storyline of the division, which has been in many instances now derailed by injuries. It started with the shoulder injury to Seth Rollins, which put him out long term back at Crown Jewel. And now Bron Breakker, who was really emerging as one of the top stars in WWE, he is going to be out long term with this hernia injury. Now, they didn't give us a full timeline as to when Bron Breakker was going to return. They only said indefinitely on the broadcast. Hernia injuries, from what I've seen, could take for anywhere up to 12 weeks, up to 6 months. So, while there are some people who are still hopeful that Bron Breakker will be back in time for WrestleMania, from what I've seen, this could absolutely jeopardize him being at WrestleMania and him being a part of WWE's created plans for the near future. Again, the storyline of the Vision has been derailed by injuries, with Bron Breakker just being the second major one. Obviously, we knew what happened to Seth Rollins at Crown Jewel, how he was being forced out of this ad storyline because of his shoulder injury, and now Bron Breakker out long term again, emerging as one of the top stars in the company, one of the most entertaining wrestlers to watch in the industry right now. He's not going to be out long term, and from what I've seen, he is most likely going to end up missing WrestleMania. So we pray for Bron Breakker, we pray for a speedy recovery, and that we can see him back in wrestling soon, because it is really going to be tough to watch wrestling without him, especially seeing how big of a star he had become in these past few months. Moving on to the next story, going to college basketball. I don't cover college basketball a lot, mainly because Ohio State sucks, but yesterday there was a major upset. Number 9 Kansas knocked off number 1 Arkansas. Or sorry, not Arkansas, Arizona, sorry. Number 9 Kansas beat number 1 Arizona 84-78, making Miami of Ohio the last team in Division 1 college basketball to have an undefeated season. Their next game is on Friday as they take on my beloved Ohio Bobcats, my alumni, my alma mater. But yeah, it's been an incredible season that Miami of Ohio has been having. They're a perfect 24-0, looking to make it a perfect 24 on Friday as they play their arch rival from Athens, Ohio. But yeah, a huge upset in college basketball with Arizona falling off. Arizona, in my opinion, is the favorite to win the national championship as of this moment. I don't expect those odds to change much just because of one loss to a really good team in Kansas. But again, Miami, last team undefeated. It'll be interesting to see how far they can take this undefeated run. They have been playing some of the best basketball they've been playing in the history of that program. They look incredible, and they could potentially be spoilers in March Madness should they get to that point. I believe they will. Um, sure, they're ranked in the top 25, but barely. But at the end of the day, they're a team who's made it 24 games undefeated. I feel like it'd be wrong if they didn't get a spot in March, but it'll be interesting to see how long Miami can take this undefeated run going on as they are quickly approaching the end of the season. March is only a month, less than a month away. March Madness is right around the corner, which I am really excited for this year. But yeah, Arizona falls off to Kansas. Miami of Ohio is the last undefeated team left in college basketball. This episode is going to be a bit shorter, if you weren't of that. Not a terrible amount of news today. But this last part is about United States women's hockey. The Olympics have been good. It does look like the United States are going to pick up another gold medal in women's curling, I believe is what it is. That women's curler is guaranteed a gold medal at this point. But let me just make sure that's true. I believe it is. But today is the big one for United States women's hockey. Now, the United States women's hockey team has been absolutely rolling in the Olympics. They're a perfect 3-0. They've outscored their opponents 15-1 entering those points, and they look very, very unstoppable. Or at least they have. With that being said, today is their biggest test. In less than an hour, as of the time I'm recording this, United States women's hockey will take on Canada. The Canadians have a very good team. Sarah Nurse is an absolute unit, and she is one of the best. She is, without a doubt, in my opinion, the best female hockey player in the world right now. They go up against the United States, U.S. and Canada. It's just a preliminary game. We're not in the playoffs for women's hockey just yet, but preliminary game, most likely the first of many times that we're going to end up seeing the United States and Canada play each other in the Olympics. I imagine they'll face each other in the playoffs for the gold medal. Again, I think this is one of the last preliminary games before women's hockey's the playoff for the gold medal begins, but United States and Canada play each other tonight. It's going to be a fun one, and I'm very excited to see how that game's going to go. Obviously, Hillary Knight has been red hot for the United States, just as Canada has been. But yeah, I mean, I'm very impressed with how the women's United States hockey team has looked. But Canada's the big one. I think Canada, without a doubt, is the favorite to win the gold medal for both hockey, men's and women's hockey. While the United States more than certainly have a good enough roster to compete with them at the end of the day, we're not going to know how well they're going to play against Canada until they start playing against Canada. And the United States women's team is going to undergo that test in just an hour. Also, this news came out. One last piece of news, I guess, before I end it off. But yesterday, it was reported that, and this will be the last bit of news in this video. Yesterday, it was reported by Yahoo Sports on Twitter that the NBA Board of Governors is likely to vote this summer on expanding the league by 2 teams. Las Vegas and Seattle are considered the favorite cities. Now, this is a big one. League expansion in the NBA hasn't been for a while. It's been a while since we've had new NBA teams, so 2 new ones will be very interesting to see how that'll work. But as far as the location goes, well, first of all, the decision expand the league by 2 teams, I got no problem with that. More teams the merrier, I guess. But as far as the locations go, I feel like they do both make sense. With Seattle, they've gotten an NHL team. They have a beautiful new arena that a basketball team could play in and call their full-time home. That was kind of the big issue that they had with the Supersonics, is that their arena wasn't the nicest and it wasn't big capacity-wise. They have that now in Seattle with Climate Pledge Arena being one of the more beautiful arenas in hockey, at least. So they do have an arena to work with now. So Seattle, it does make sense for them to go back to Seattle, especially knowing the way the Seattle basketball fan base was ripped away from their last NBA team. They definitely deserve a new one, and it'll be nice to see Seattle back in basketball if this does become true. And as far as Vegas goes, Vegas has been a city that's been legitimizing itself in sports throughout the last decade. Okay, a decade ago, we saw the Vegas Golden Knights enter the NHL and go to the Stanley Cup Finals their first year. Now they're already a Stanley Cup champion. We've seen the Vegas Raiders move from Oakland to Las Vegas. Obviously, their time in Vegas hasn't been the greatest, but it's still a professional NFL team in Las Vegas, which they've been wanting for a while. They got it. we're seeing the Oakland A's continue their move to Las Vegas. I believe we have another year or two before the A's officially become the Vegas A's, but they're going to be in Las Vegas as well. And so if Vegas does choose to move, or if the NBA does choose to give Las Vegas an NBA team, an expansion team, that will be all four major sports in Las Vegas over the last decade. Now, similar situation what Seattle has with their arena situation, but obviously T-Mobile Arena is one of the most famous arenas in the world already. It's seen a Stanley Cup champion. It's seen plenty of UFC events. It has proven without a doubt that it can host any kind of sporting event there. And basketball just be another continuation on top of that. So, yeah, simply put, makes sense to me. I feel like both cities make sense arena wise. They have great fan bases there, especially up in Seattle. Now that the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, the fan base of Seattle sports is going to want a winning team. The Mariners nearly made it to the World Series last year. Kraken kind of exists, but they're in a playoff spot right now. But yeah, I feel like both cities do make a lot of sense if the NBA does choose to expand the league. And both locations have amazing fan bases, more than suitable, more than worthy of having a professional NBA franchise. So that's just an interesting piece of news I saw yesterday. So they said the votes this summer. So we will see if the NBA will move forward with that. But I believe that'll be all. I'm going to get this video on YouTube quickly so y'all can see what I have to say about the women's hockey team. Again, they play Canada in less than an hour, so be sure to tune into that. As we see, most likely the first of two matchups between the US and Canada. The next, most likely, probably going to be in the playoffs for the gold medal. So that'll do it. Thank you for tuning in. I know it's a bit of a shorter episode, but there's some sport things I want to talk about for a little bit, but we'll move on. So thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time. Peace.